All right, we're also going to configure one more thing, maybe two more things on our DNS server. I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you have an IP address and you want to know the name that goes along with it, you can look up the IP address. You can do like NS, NS lookup. That's not going to work because my virtual machine is not connected to the internet anymore. Let's do it. Where'd that window go? That was weird. Anyway, you can do NS lookup, and then an IP address like 8.8.8.8, and that would return the IP address, the name that goes along with that IP address. Well, for that to work, you need some reverse lookup zones. So we're going to create a reverse lookup zone. We're going to start by copying our rich.org zone file because we're lazy, and that needs to be in a zone file that has a special type of name in it, and that name is going to be essentially the last 3 octets of your IP address backwards. So we're using 10.1.1 for our IP addresses. So our special file needs to be 1.1.10 because that's just the way it works. You put the octets in backwards, the last 3 octets, and then it needs inaddr.arpa. That needs to be the name of the file, inaddr.arpa. All right, now we'll look at that new file, modify that new file. This top stuff mostly is going to stay the same. Has your name server, this other stuff, that's going to stay the same. You need the name servers in there. We also have to put in, this is in my sample file I'm looking at. I don't know if we really need it, but I'm going to put it anyway. Put in the name of the domain. So we'll put that in. Then we can get rid of some of these records, or at least change them. We have a different format for these guys. If you look at these entries, I have a name, and then I have an internet type, and then I have a type of record, and I have the IP address. Well, now we're going to do something similar but different. So now we're going to take the last octet of the address, which in this case we'll say 1, and then we will have, it's an internet record. It is a pointer record, and the IP address, the pointer for this record is going to be dns1.rich.org. So we're saying if somebody asks us for 10.1.1.1, we want to say that that is dns1.rich.org, and so we can get rid of this record. We're saying 2 is DNS2, so we'll change this to 2, and we'll go change this to DNS2, and we'll delete this record. And we say server 1 is 5, so we'll just copy and paste some lines and make some changes. Server 1, we're saying server 2 is 6. These are obviously made up addresses right now because we don't have all these servers. Server 2 is 6. 3 and 4 are FTP. And the rest of these are aliases, so we'll get rid of all that stuff. Alright, so we'll go with this. In theory, now when I restart my named service named restart. Hopefully it'll work. And it worked. So now if I do ns lookup, set my server localhost. If I look for 10.1.1.1, cross your fingers and hope it works. Oh no, it didn't work, but I know what I did wrong. I forgot to modify the other config file. So we'll get out of there. I also have to go into the named.conf file and define some stuff in there. So I need to go in here and create the zone for my new file I just created. So we'll copy these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, paste them. We'll change the zone to match our reverse lookup zone. 1.1.10.in adder ARPA. And we'll change the zone file to be 1.1.10.in adder ARPA .zone, and that should be good. So now, in theory, if I restart my service now, oh, file not found. Did I not put a zone at the end of my file name? Yeah, I didn't put zone at the end of my file name. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what the file is called as long as you reference it by the right thing. Ignoring out of zone data. Has no NS records. Put NS records in there. Right there. That's weird. Alright, so I stopped the previous recording because I had an error and I didn't know how long it was going to take me to find it, but I found it pretty quickly. I had a dash right here instead of a dot, and that was the problem, which you may have noticed that while you were watching me type this stuff in, but I didn't see it until it was too late. So after I did that, I restarted the service and it worked fine. So now if I do an NS lookup, set the server to myself, and then if I look up a number, hopefully it works. Yeah, so there I looked up 10.1.1.1 and it told me, oh hey, that's dns1.rich.org. Ugh. I don't know why up arrow doesn't work in there. If I look up 10.1.1.2, that wasn't even a real address, full address. I'm having a terrible time with this morning. Should drink more coffee. Let's look up 10.1.1.2. I don't know what my server's set to, so that's probably why that's failing. Let's look up server localhost 10.1.1.2, DNS2 10.1.1.3, ftp.rich.org 10.1.1.5, server1.rich.org. So that's how you create a reverse lookup zone for DNS.